So many of you cling to this idea that from the male point of view, SA is about intent.
The only time I've ever been violently graped was my boyfriend. Most of the SA experience I've had in my life was from men I knew. Family members, neighbors, my best friend Scott at church, who was like 30 something and had a mullet. I was a child. He's my best friend. I have so many examples. So this idea that men cling to, that all these rapists are like these men who are going to jump out from the bushes. Those men exist. They do. Or that it's some stranger danger. Of course, strangers are dangerous. But nothing is more dangerous than the man in the home with a woman or a femme person. Nothing. Statistics are on my side, okay? Go look it up. I'm not making this up. And if men would just accept that fact alone, then they might be like, well, crap, if I do the math, if it's not all these like boogeymen hiding, doing all this, is it me? Is it my friends? Yeah, it's you. And if it's not you, it's your friends. But because you don't even know what SA is, and you're so afraid to investigate it and ask yourself some hard questions, you are perpetuating the cycle of violence. But you know, I don't blame you. I didn't know what SA was. I grew up on this. Keep an eye out for the funniest movie about growing up ever made. Because this is so funny, growing up with men essaying you, harassing you, peeping on you. Like, this is so funny. I understand that a lot of y'all, I mean, I'm Gen X, I'm 45. This is what I grew up with. And it wasn't just one Porky's. There was a bunch of them. I think there's 5, but someone said in my comments, this is just so funny. They needed 5. I know that you also grew up thinking that your dad hitting on your sister's friend is totally fine because, you know, this movie won Oscars and the protagonist was a PEDO. Like, we got his point of view. We sympathized for him. And his nagging little bitch of a wife, no wonder he turned to his daughter's friend. I mean, duh. I mean, why would you not think that grape is okay when every movie normalized it? The 16 Candles. Like, every movie, especially teenage movies, normalized it. I mean, you know, we had so much sympathy for the poor nerd who climbs into a tree to watch a woman undress. His future wife, what a beautiful love story. Oh, little peeping Tom, but he's a good man. He's a nice guy. And he saved her, the woman he's peeping on, from the real rapist, Biff. I did a whole video about this. This movie is so disturbing. I showed my husband, who is 5.5 years younger than me. He's also French, so he didn't grow up on all the same stuff I did. But I also showed my British friend, who is 9 years younger than me. Both of them hated this movie. They were horrified because this guy sucks. And he was trying to sleep with his students. Oh my God, but he was so funny. And you know what? He's a good guy because he didn't grape her when she was an ogre or whatever, possessed by a dog. Like, good for him. He didn't grape her. Wow, what a hero. But he did get the girl. This movie, I thought it was such a great love story. By the way, this is a great article in IndieWire that kind of breaks down a lot of these. This dude followed a woman into the bathroom right after meeting her. This movie, bleh. This movie, bleh. I mean, I'm so glad they ended up together because him crawling under a desk and like looking in her, I mean, that's so romantic. He really actually liked her, y'all. He was a total D-bag because he liked her. And the list goes on and on and on and on. So I understand why a lot of men do not understand what SA is. I didn't understand what SA is. I am still redefining it every day because every day I am more and more horrified to realize just how many times it happened to me. And so many men honestly think that grape is about purposely causing violence, stealing something from them, dehumanizing them. They think that that is intentional all the time. And what we're now starting to understand is that it can literally just be a silent treatment that uses coercion to manipulate a woman into sleeping with him because of power dynamics. Because we know there's a consequence later on. You know, my ex, the violent one who graped me, he graped me violently only once. But he lovingly graped me many times after. Do you think I fought back after the first time? Or do you think I knew what this man is capable of? And so I'm just gonna give up. so that he doesn't know I hate his guts and doesn't know I'm planning on leaving him. The threat of violence. Men, they're so smart. They may not say in their mind, I'm going to use the threat of violence. I'm going to exploit her trauma responses. I'm going to exploit the whole system that has taught her that she may not want to risk saying no to me because that may not work out for her. I think some men think that and don't care. But I think a lot of men are operating under this, knowing that women have a lot of fear of men's anger, approval seeking, people pleasing, fawning, and all kinds of things that are involved with codependency, trauma responses, survival instinct, and all kinds of stuff. And a lot of them may not realize they benefit from the violence of men, but all of them do. So a lot of men need to start asking themselves some hard questions. Was there a time when I could sense that she wasn't quite there? Was there a time when, she said no a few times and finally gave in? She's in robot mode now. Okay, cool. She's down with it. Y'all don't care enough to ask yourself what happened, because you've been raised under patriarchy to feel entitled to our bodies at all costs, to have free access to it, to not even see our bodies as something that our soul resides in, a body with feelings and really, really deep thoughts and a spirit. You don't see us that way, but why would you? We don't even have heads, much less thoughts in the media. Now, your fear and your pride and maybe your own trauma responses and absolutely your patriarchal condition and not wanting to lose power and lots of other things are keeping you from asking yourself these hard questions. And this doesn't mean you need to call up every woman that you will realize that you did that to and be like, hey, my God, I'm so sorry. Most of those women don't ever want to talk to you again. They don't want to see you. A lot of y'all literally changed the trajectory of one woman or femme or many of us with your selfish, self-serving entitlement and caused us trauma that you can't even imagine what it feels like to feel dead inside. I mean, I kind of feel like you do, because a lot of y'all are just a bunch of Kens. But unless you've been raped, you don't know what it feels like to have your body stolen from you, literally stolen from you, and have no agency over it. You have a fear of it because you won't even let us put our finger up your butt, but you don't know what it feels like. And I hope you never do. But one of the things that I do understand is your point of view. Because I live in this really odd place of being a white woman, and I have all other kinds of privileges too. I'm a member of many groups with power. But as a white woman specifically, I know all too well what it's like to be viewed as both the prey and the predator, to be oppressed and be the oppressor, to be on the receiving end of violence and also being possibly on the giving end of violence, or at least somehow complicit in a system of violence. I know what it's like to face that shame. I know what it's like to look at my history or my ancestors' history and really take that in and ask myself hard questions like, how have I enabled this? How have I participated in this? Where am I responsible? And it's not a fun feeling, but it's a necessary one. So I know what it's like to be in that position of not wanting to look at something because it's so scary and you don't want to be bad. That I think that's one reason why I'm like losing patience with men, because I know it's possible. I know it is possible for all of y'all, whether what level of guilt you play into this system. I know it's possible for you to look at that and take it in and accept it and then use that for good change. I know it's possible, but some of y'all just won't do it. You won't. And that's why more and more of you are going to die alone, because women are so tired of being your schmegs toys, of you using our bodies as your surrogate hand, of feeling dehumanized. If men really don't want to die alone and be left behind, this is one thing you better look at. As ugly and scary as it is, you have to, or you can't heal. So keep doing it.